Hey everybody. Okay, so we're going to go over a couple of reasons why good girls like bad boys. Okay, now when it comes to relationships, you have to have what's called a balance, right? Some people don't want that balance. Some people want a very dominant person in their life, okay? So then they're like, okay, I'm going to pick a bad boy because he knows what he wants. Most time, bad boys want only one thing, and good girls know that. You can take advantage of that by what? Getting a bad boy. The bad boy is not scared of nobody at school, so you feel protected. The bad boy is pretty much having fun things, interesting things to do, like riding on the back of a motorcycle, going to the movies, you know, sharing popcorn. And when I say sharing, you got your own popcorn and then he's taking out of your popcorn. You know, um, you know, somebody who will take you on an adventure. So you might like, you know, maybe going in a hot air balloon. A bad boy will go with you, okay? And then he'll make you feel daring, like, oh, let's go hang gliding after this. Or let's go to the beach. Let's go, surf the waves. Let's go, ride on the back of my motorcycle and I want to take you to some, you know, cave or something like that. And you like, ooh, yeah, what's in that cave? No, girl, you about to lose your virginity or something. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But anyways, so they're taking you out for a good time all the time. And so you start getting fulfilled by that thrill. Versus like a good boy might be like, oh, let's get something to eat. And you're just like, oh yeah, I like to go out and eat dinner. I'm gonna take you back home to your parents. And you're like, oh yeah, that's so fun. Let me meet your family. No, you want the bad boy. You want the bad boy that's just like, I don't want to meet anybody. I just want to have fun all the time and do whatever I want to do. And you're like, hey, I want to be free and do whatever I want to do. So that's why you go for the good boy. I mean, excuse me, the bad boy. The bad boy makes you feel like you have power over other people because he's always trying to wine and dine. He's always trying to, go against the grain. He's like the most popular guy in school, and like you want that popularity, you want that sort of fame, you know, the life where everybody knows you. And he seems cool. Everybody vibes with him because like he has a mellow personality. He's not like uptight, and he's not like, boring and just sounding like the clear eye guy. Um, it gives you a hard time, but sometimes you like it because you just like when somebody's always going with the flow, it gets kind of boring. Sometimes you want somebody to say, "Oh, I don't want to go to Taco Bell. I want to go to Olive Garden." You like, okay, I can go for the Olive Garden. They just like changing your mind or persuading you, and then you just get used to that. Like somebody trying to convince you or somebody trying to, you know, um, charm you. So that's why I think good girls just end up liking the bad boys, and then sometimes in turn they end up turning bad. Okay, because they kind of like that, charming appeal. Okay, um, since the beginning of time, good girls have like bad boys. I don't think that's gonna ever change. Um, you know, it's the thrill of trying to like tame a wild horse. Y'all ever heard that song, Wild Horses? Lovely, lovely song. You have to listen to it. Um, I listened to the version that has Alicia Keys in it because it's like, she was a good girl, but she went for the bad guy. He was already married, and and it was like, I have to tame this man. I have to have this man. He's mine. I want him to be mine. And then so she went for him, and she got him because bad guys want the good girls to like them and come after them and somehow like convince them that they're actually really good or make them feel good about themselves, at least at that. Um, like I said, sometimes it's like the bad guys are the most clingiest ones that spend the most time with you. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but they always want to go like, hey, let's go on an adventure. And it end up being like, hey, I'm out too late at night or I'm, gone too long. And then you start to like that because you crave that attention. And it's like that whole shh, don't tell anybody that we're together or whatever the case may be. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I won't tell anybody. And then you end up telling everybody because you're like, how did you get him? Oh, I got a bad boy. I got somebody. Okay, so the downside of good girl liking, you know, bad boys is sometimes they will break your heart. They will steal your heart. So they are easily distracted. So say another woman comes along and she's more appealing. She's more of a good girl, or maybe she's the bad girl that he's been looking for. So he doesn't feel as bad for being bad. You know, he can easily leave you for that person who draws their attention. So that's the downside of having a bad boy. They don't mind being the one who crushes your heart, the one who breaks your heart, the one who leaves you behind because they're used to that bad boy role. So it doesn't make them feel bad to be bad. So that is the very downside. So it's a double-edged sword when you go for these bad guys. It's like when it goes bad, it can be really, really bad. If y'all ever seen that Eminem and Rihanna song, it's like when it's good, it's going great, but when it's bad, it's like a tornado that hits a volcano or something like that. Okay. Um, you know, you can find yourself in a whole heap of trouble going for these bad guys too, because you might have had a good reputation and good credit and a nice house, a nice car, things going really well for you. Then when you get with the bad guy, things go downhill. And I don't want to say I've experienced it firsthand, but I've seen a lot of people experience these things. Like I went for the bad guy because it's so fun. He sparks my fire, whatever the case may be, but he can also put out your fire as well. Because he got so much bad things going on, and then those things catch up to him. You're with him, so it catches up to you too. And you might have to lie for them, you might have to cover for them, or you might have to be an accomplice. And then next thing you know, you in trouble too. And like I said, you went from being good to being bad. Terrible. Okay, now good girls think that they can change a man. Bad girls are just like whatever. I'm just gonna take his money and leave. Good girls like, I'm gonna change him. I'm gonna make him go to church. I'm gonna make him do right. I'm gonna make him stop cussing. I'm gonna make him stop drinking. I'm gonna make him stop smoking. I'm gonna make him, be a stand-up guy. It does not work. It never works. But that's the part that I think good girls like, oh, it's still a challenge for me to try to tame this wild horse. It becomes an addiction and almost like a drug. Like, I need to make sure this man likes me and only me. So you have to be careful when you're thinking these types of things, because like I said, when he goes down, you go down with him. And for example, like this, young man on screen, okay, on his little dirt bike. Let's say you go on a motorcycle or a dirt bike with him. If he goes downhill, you go downhill. If he falls down, you fall down. I remember being on the back of a moped with my granddad, and he leaned to the side and he was about to fall, and the moped burnt my leg, but it got kind of pushed up by my leg, so it ended up hurting me and not hurting him. So that can happen as well, going for a bad guy. Like, you end up getting hurt and he doesn't get hurt because he's so used to being in this realm of being a bad boy. You, on the other hand, are not used to being in the realm of being bad. So a lot of bad things might happen to you and good things might happen to the other person because you take on that karmic debt. And some people are just like, well, why does that happen? That's why people who are mean or bad, quote unquote, or going against the grain all the time, they end up doing better than people who are, quote unquote, good or seen as being good. They end up prospering more because people respect them because they're going to say no a lot. They're going to say, I don't want to do this. They're going against the grain. They're being that rebel. And people just pretty much, they cling to them. So that energy just pulls, people towards that person, and then pulls the energy from you like apart. So you end up being the broken apart one and they end up being made whole through this whole energy exchange. Um, and so if you ever been in a relationship with a bad boy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Um, People around you will notice that, oh, you changed since you've been with him. You're not the same person. You don't do this and you don't do that. They never say like, oh, this person has changed you. They're, not that good for you. No, they go straight for you and throwing the daggers at you because they feel like it's easier to attack you versus dealing with the bad guy, because they don't want those types of problems, because they probably seen what happens when you fuel the fire of somebody who is a bad boy or not so nice guy or whatever the case may be. But anyways, that's all that I have for y'all today. If y'all want some more about good girls like and bad boys, y'all better like this video and watch this video and put some views on my board. Okay. All right. Gotta go. Bye.